Connecticut. Plus, he taught English at Smith and Mount Holyoke colleges. He's the author of, I'm only going to read the second, Dafydd of Gwilym, Wales. And this afternoon will introduce us to Dafydd, his poetry, and some of the women who captured and almost, but not, they then broke his heart. John will read and comment on the selections from his book while showing photographs by his collaborator, Anthony Griffiths. John, it's a delightful time to have you here. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming John to the podium.
Very happy to bow. Happy St. David's Day to everybody. How much time do I have?
Take your time.
Take my time. You asked for it.
Well, she
Why don't say that to me? I'm a slow-moving turtle here. Okay, that should be about it. Yeah. Okay. So you may have thought you came to hear me, but I think you really came here to hear Dafydd of Gwilym, one of the greatest poets that ever come out of Europe, if I might say so. And I just did. I want to note that all the photographs you'll see today were taken by Anthony Griffiths, my collaborator on a number of books, a wonderful photographer who lives in Aberystwyth, and has been my friend for almost 60 years. Happy St. David's Day. It is St. David's Cathedral.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I think I'm all set. Dafydd of Gwilym, as I just said, is one of the great lyric poets of early European literature in any language. And 650 years after he died, we don't know exactly when he died, but about that, he's still regarded by many as the finest poet of Wales. And my eyes aren't what they used to be. And Wales, of course, takes its poets and its poetry very seriously. This is a little clip from a manuscript in which a poem of his was written onto a blank page, and it is quite possibly written by Dafydd of Gwilym himself. So that would be his autograph, Dafydd Llwyd fab Gwilym Gad. Very rarely do we get an autograph of anybody from the 14th century. All right, focus. The thing that makes him memorable is that he has an understanding of what it is to be a human being, and in particular, an understanding of what it is to be a human being in love, which he had lots of practice at. And he had lots of practice at the pain of being in love, being rejected, or denied one's happiness one way or the other. But as a poet, he used that experience and that understanding by making himself the butt of his own jokes. A lot of his poetry is very humorous. He wrote, I don't want you to get the wrong idea just from what I'm reading today, he wrote some wonderful religious poetry. He wrote some very moving praise poetry of his patrons and of his friends and other poets. But he is rightfully known for the poetry of frustrated love that we'll be hearing some of today. And he teaches us about the joys and the pain of love. Well, he makes us laugh and smile and say, oh yeah, that sounds familiar, I recognize that. So, what slide am I on? Okay. I was going to begin with a poem Where did I put my book? Under my folder. I'm going to begin with a poem. All the titles of his poems that we use today are modern titles, but this one is called "The Girl from Windsor" because that's the first line of the poem, and that's where the girl is from, we assume. And I will read as often as I can here, just to give you a bit of the flavor of Dafydd himself. I'll give you the first couple of lines of each poem in Welsh. Y fi'n o eithyn fynydd fynad teg ni fi'n oed dydd. The girl from Eithyn Fynydd, my fair friend, does not want to meet me. Slender brows, genteel look, fine golden hair, swift, fierce frown, my paradise to ward off thoughts of death, my splendid young goddess, my mirror, radiance in a golden hue. My share is she, my golden girl, my treasure below the bosom of the hills. My love for her grows more and more, my genteel, fair, fine-haired darling. My treasure will not be found on a high slope. She does not go to the wood up on the hill. She does not love one who loves her. She does not play. Morvis will not be found to play. Painful word, she loves Mary, and loves the splendid, mighty saints, and loves God. She does not believe in me. The fair girl does not know. I am unwavering. She is not aware of the state I am in. She is not familiar with wantonness. My dear one did not want me or anyone, and I would not want my distress to live if I could not have the fine, fair, modest girl. Because of that, I have suffered pain. Gentle Morvis, I shall die. You hear that? But I don't want to read all the poetry of Love's Failure. I decided to read the poems a little bit longer, but it's regarded by many to be Dafydd's best poem. And it's a poem in praise of Margaret. He compares her to the sun. And he does such an intimate job of comparing them that at times you can't tell which one he's talking about. The poem is about brightness and light, and the influence, in his mind at least, the influence that the sun has over the entire world is the influence that, for him anyway, Morgan has over the entire world. Gorsiw na ddwy ddyn gair llais, gorsiw man marian mais. I am waiting for a soft-spoken girl, the brilliance of small snow in a stony field. See, God, that she is a bright girl, brighter than the crest of foam, the color of the breast of a loud, bright wave. A fervently bright girl, she is modest. She knows how to win a love poem from my lips. The fairest face of the sun near a cloud, the people's dawn in a fine fur mantle. She knows how to mock an ugly man. Excellent Morvith. The reference to an ugly man is probably to her husband, not to Dafydd himself. Just so you know. Elsewhere he refers to himself as quite handsome. She knows how to mock an ugly man. Excellent Morvith. Woe to a feeble, lowly poet who loves her. A beautiful Gwenhwyvar. The girl's, Gwenhwyvar was King Arthur's wife. Guinevere. The girl's appearance is a web of gold. Woe to him, handsome his image, crying out, woe. Great is her deception and her cunning, greater than anything, but she is my dear. One time my fair girl appears between church and court, And another, proud wise girl on the fortress battlements, bright shining Morvith hides herself like the sun, beneficial to the land, foster mother of the principality of warmth. Her excellent work is praiseworthy. May's merchant of radiance, the striking appearance of bright Morvith, the bright, majestic semblance of lovely, magnificent Mary. Across the earth, enormous territory, the sun comes like a shining girl, pleasantly within the compass of a single day, shepherdess of the sky from one end to the other. When there is, we have known great pain, a need for the sun which dazzles the sight. After a thick cloud, very great conflict comes over her face. She escapes just before dark, a feeling of sorrowful pain as night comes. The blue-black sky will be full. It's the sunset. And the blue-black sky will be full. Image of Elined, the planet's place. Hard for anyone to know then. She is God's ball where she goes. No hand can touch her, nor grasp her edge. I'll just say this parenthetically. Hyle, the Welsh word for sun, is a feminine noun. So Dafydd can use the pronoun she, referring to both the sun, we would say it in English, but he uses she, and she, of course, for Morvith. So, who is he talking about? On the morrow, she will rise again, lighting up from afar the roof of the world. Not dissimilar, sharing sorrow, is Morvith, setting from me. After she comes from the air above, across the sky she runs below. She sits, fair her frown, under the lintel of the cold, wretched man. I pursued desire around the region of Penpryd, home of love. Every day a wise, sparkling girl is seen there, and every night she flees. I'm no nearer to getting on the floor of a hall to touch her hand. I'm slain than it would be, freely praised, dazzling girl, for people's hand to seize the sun. Like blazing sun, the blazing sun has no better radiant, happy face than she. If one is fairest this year, fairest of the Lord's lineage, is our son. Why, to take a desirable step, does not the one comprehend the night, and the other, in splendid warmth, good light, color the day? If their two faces appeared in circuit around the four corners of the earth, it would be a wonder in a stiff-leaved book, if in the maiden's life night ever came. The man knows how to come up with a metaphor and stretch it and make it better. Here is him in a lighter mode. As he goes, think of Romeo and Juliet, the balcony scene. The serenade is a popular form of poetry from the 13th and 14th centuries, and Dafydd is the first to adapt it into Welsh. So here's somewhat of a serenade of Dafydd. It's called Donna Bargot, Under the Eaves. He's at night outside Morgan's house. And here's what he has to say about it. Clo ar roed ar ddrws y tŷ, glafwydd o serch, lliw fy fi, dyredith welen wylein, diw hael arol dihyn. The door of the house is locked. I am sick with love. Hear me. This goes into it. The door of the house was locked. I am sick with love. Hear me. Come to be seen, lovely form. For generous God's sake, wake up. A false-spoken girl, why should she prevail? a fault by Mary that causes madness. It's striking because of great passion. 3 blows, the locked latch broke. It was a loud one. Did you hear it? It was as loud as a bell. Morvith, my chaste-natured darling, foster mother of the principality of treachery, mine is a shelter on the other side of the wall from you. I need to shout, fair maid, have mercy on my fevered sleeplessness. The night is dark, a traitor to desire. Acknowledge how miserable my situation is. Oh, for the weather from the heavens tonight. The cataracts from the eaves are copious. Desire's instrument on this flesh of mine. The rain is no greater, sickness is mine, than the snow I'm under. This shivering is not comfortable. There was never greater pain on numb skin than I have got through caring by the one who made me no worse shelter. There was never in Carnarvon a worse jail than this courtyard. I would not be out all night. I would not lurk about, but because of you. Indeed, I would not come to suffer anguish every night if I did not love you. I would not be in the rain and snow for the space of an hour if not for you. I would not forsake, and I know affliction, the whole world if it were not for you. Here I am because of passion. Your good fortune, you're in the house. Whoever listens long to me here will doubt, my golden one, that I am alive. In there is my pure soul, and my soulless self is here outside. My thoughts will not go away. Madness caused me to be here. You made a pact with me. Here I am. Where are you? Let's see. Moving on to basically what I'm saying. Douglas had a friend, Griffiths Greig, an excellent poet. They had considerable poetic debates together, each one getting more insulting than the preceding one. But they also both, get this, each one of them wrote an elegy for the other one. Don't ask. So Griffiths Greig one day, mind you keep in mind that Morvis was probably married by her will or against her will, we don't know. Her husband had the nickname of Bollard, the little bow. We don't know his real name, but we know that Bollard was a real person. His name does appear in some court records in 1344. So Griffiths Greig, his friend, one day composed this stanza. I'll just read it in English. Because of the tedious law of this guilty man, there is a possibility that Morvis' husband, the Boulevard, filed a lawsuit against David for some reason or another. We don't know. Slight reference to that somewhere. Because of the tedious law, David, guilty man, and the bow, keen butcher, it's best for you, in case of a rough day's encounter, to get used to giving up Morpheth. That's Griffith's advice. David's replies. I'll give you his reply. Ni feitja ar Morpheth hof adain sercho bis archai bab trivain. Quailiu zairi hail luirain oni thela mel of mine. I will not give up Morpheth, fond, affectionate bird, even if the Pope of Rome demanded it. Cheeks bright-colored as the sun in the east, until honey comes from stones. David's faithfulness. Here's a poem that is not addressed to Margaret or to any other girl. There are other girls that we'll meet shortly. David was up in North Wales someplace, coming south. coming back to Ceredigion quickly as he could to meet with Margaret. That, by the way, is the territory which Margaret lived, near, not far from David's own home, near Llanfair. So David's north bank of the Dyfi, trying to get south to his home. And to medieval travelers, rivers were a great impediment. Bridges were not frequent, and even if they were, some of the rivers were too wide to build a bridge, even today. So this is a poem, The Wave on the River Dyfi, Dawn Aravon Dyfi. David addresses the wave, praying to the wave to let him cross. Dawn Aravon Dyfi. The dawn ben grachlon grachlais, na lydd goel bydd gael bais, i'r tir draw lle daw i'n da. Nag oita fi, nag ata. Curly-headed, mighty, loud-voiced wave, do not prevent me, favorable omen, from finding a crossing to the land over there where a reward will come to me. Do not delay me, do not restrain me. Allow me, gracious protection, for the Lord God's sake, to row over the water between me and the Dyfi. Turn back, home of 300 nets. I am your poet. You are higher than the water. Has anyone ever sung with his lips such praise to your masterful roar? Sail's companion, gem of the brine, curve of the sea as I? There was no cardinal wind in any planetary sign, no tumultuous rush, no grievous double wrath, no swift battle, no spear, no shoulder of steel, or a steed, or man, that I would not compare, by no hardship, strong, fierce wave, to your power. There was no organ or harp, or man's tongue with faultless praise, that I would not judge as strong, blue surge of the sea, as your great fair voice. Not another word from me is to be had about my darling, treacherous fortune, the image of Neve. Neve is a legendary beauty. Except to compare her bright beauty and her face to your flood. Therefore, make sure you do not impede me, bright jousting woman of fresh rippling water, from going, my darling would condemn me, through the birch grove, beyond Llanfair, to a girl who brought me a fluent, fruitful lord, a gentle maiden, from death back to life. Perilous is my predicament, friend, horsewoman of the sea. You are a barrier between me and my comfort. Curb the flood with your bridle. If only you knew, gray-mantled wave, you are the bright, beautiful hostess of the sea. If only you knew the magnitude of my rebuke for my delay. You are a mantle over yonder shore. Though I have come for the sake of a second Indag, another legendary beauty, though I have come for the sake of a second Indag, as far as your breast, fair wave, no enemy's war will slay me, if you should keep me from the girl's land. The 70 degrees of love should slay me. Do not keep me from Morvith, my golden girl. He invoked all of nature to his aid. So, you doing all right? Don? Okay, I'll move things along. But I can't resist reading this entire book. But I want to do this interview. There was another young woman named Dudley who lived in South Connecticut. Her father was a nobleman. David wrote 9 poems about her, as compared to 35 poems about Norman. But she was probably too exalted a station in life for him to marry, although he does suggest that in a poem to her father. I won't read that one, but I'll read this poem, which is called An Invitation to Dusky. Her name is Dusky. In comparison to Margaret, Dusky seems to have smooth black hair. This is his invitation. Dafydd lived near Bollard, which is next to Aberystwyth, where the river Friedel runs to the sea right at Aberystwyth. And a little stretch of that is called Minavel. Minavel. It's the riverbank, really. And it's still, even today, it's a nice place where lovers can go for the evening walk along the Friedel. So, invitation for Dusky. Radiant girl of a gifted nature, Dusky with the smooth black hair. I'm going to say this first. I'll start over again. Davy's favorite place turns up in a lot of poems. And his favorite place, wherever it happened to be, would be a nice, comfortable birch grove in the woods. A nice private place with soft, whatever, underground to sit on and be private with someone. So he's inviting Dusky. Radiant girl of a gifted nature, Dusky with the smooth black hair, I invite you, hidden desire is anger's refuge, to the vale of Minavel. No feeble invitation would suit you. No greedy man's invitation to his shack will it be. No provisions for the benefit of a young reaper. No corn, bright green mixed corn. No bit of a plowman's dinner. And no meaty feast of a serf. No Englishman's visit with his friend. No razor celebration of a bondman. The razor celebration seems to be a sort of ritual when a young man comes of age and gets his face shaved. So this won't be no razor celebration of a bondman. No promise will I make a good ending to my golden one, but a nightingale, and me, a light-voiced, brown-backed nightingale, and a thrush with hearty, pleasant speech, shaded growth, and a chamber of verdant birch. Was there ever a better house? While we are out under the leaves, our fine, strong birch will guard us. A loft for the birds to play in, a pleasant grove, that's the way it is. 9 trees of fair appearance are in the wood altogether. At the bottom, a rounded circumference. At the top, a green bell tower. And beneath them, desirable dwelling, a verdant clover, manna from heaven. A place where 2, the crowd worries them, or 3, can spend an hour or so. A place where noble roebucks come from the hill. A place where birds sing. It's a fine place. A place of dense blackbird dwellings. A place of splendid trees. A place hawks are reared. A place of good new building trees. A place of great desire. A place of heaven on earth. A place with a green mansion. A place where frowns are mild. A place near water. A cool, smoke-free place. A place not well known, thickly wooded land. Not well known to flour merchants and long-legged cheesemakers. There, tonight, waves brightness, let us go. The 2 of us, my fair girl, let us go, if we go anywhere, lively one, fair of face, my girl with eyes bright as coals. Why, you might wonder, the flour merchants and long-legged cheesemakers. How are they getting this call? Well, obviously he's contrasting, his ideal place in the woods with town life and the busyness of town. But mostly, here it is, Blocktie Night Outside Goisil. Flour merchants and long-legged cheesemakers. He did it mostly for the rhyme and the alliteration. Blocktie Night Outside Goisil. That's how they got into that part. I want to read two of the most popular of David's poems, and I want to get some help for this because they're dialogue poems. Other characters appear in them. So I would like to ask my wife Margaret and also Magdalene. You know how names just go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here it is. And I've got her copy and I've got her copy someplace. This is a poem. This is a poem. Is it what I just quoted the other side here?
Okay.
Because
I'm just checking.
do you want the large copy?
Hey, John, take the mic out. Please.
Yeah, I'm going
Hand it
to.
to me.
Yeah, I'm just going to. I've just got too many things in my hands here. And what I'll do is close this. And as you read out, when your lines come, I'll be your mic stand. This is a poem called Merched Sanbadarn. Sanbadarn was David's parish, was his parish church. If I can get to it. There it is, that's Sanbadarn Church. And so I don't forget to switch it. That's the interior, where this poem takes place. Nechet Sanbadarn, the girls of Sanbadarn. Plagi Harsi der Duiv, Pla ad hoch verged Piluv. Am na chefais dreisdrasoi, o honen in erioi, na morwin voin o vanag, na merch vach na grach na grag. I am doubled over with anger, a plague on all the girls of the parish, because I have not had mighty oppressive wine, a single one of them ever. Neither maiden, a gentle request, nor young girl, nor old woman, nor wife. What is the reluctance? What mischief? What failing that they do not want me? What harm to a slender-browed maiden to have me in a dense, dark wood? It would be no shame for her to see me in a bed of leaves. There never was a time I did not love. There never was such lasting enchantment as this, even more than men with Garwi's ardor. Garwi is a traditional, legendary lover. Never was such a lasting enchantment as this, either one day or two a day, and despite that, I was no nearer to getting one than if she were my enemy. There was, oops, I'll put it down, I want to read it. There was no Sunday in Sanbadarn that I would not be, and others condemn it, with my face towards a splendid girl, and the nape of my neck towards most splendid God. And after I've been looking a long time over my feathers at my parish, the sweet, bright maiden would whisper.
Lascivious is the look. His eye knows how to hide his wickedness, of the pale lad with the face of a flirt and his sister's hair on his head.
Is that the way it is with him?
Says the other beside her.
He shall get no response while the world lasts. Let him hoot to the devil, daft thing.
Harsh to me the bright girl's gift, small recompense for giddy love. I must try to cease this behavior, dreadful dreams. Best for me to become someone like a hermit, a scoundrel's role. From too much looking a true lesson, over my shoulder, a sorry sight, I have become a friend powerful in song, stiff-necked, without any companion. Poor David.
Bless him.
And thank you very much. We have the seeds of a new WSWNE acting troupe.
Terrible trio.
This next poem. Thank you. Is your copy? Is your copy or not? Doesn't matter. I'd also like to invite Howard to come up and help us out with this poem. There's another male. No, this one, yeah. So you might have noticed, it might have even sort of bothered you. David is always interrupting himself in the middle of a sentence. That's intentional. In Welsh, it's called sangiad, which means an interruption, stomping on the sentence, a parenthesis. But it has a poetic function, which you can hear much better in Welsh than you can in my translation, because it's poetic. It's a way for the poet to achieve rhyme, alliteration, meter, the right syllable count, to make the poetry such powerful poetry as it is. And as we all know from our own poet Robert Frost, that poetry is what gets lost in translation. I apologize for having lost so much of David's poetry, but to get all of it, you'll have to just continue learning your Welsh and then go to it. This is a poem which is a great favorite, and I'll just put my copy here. What we're going to do to help you see what I mean about the sangiadai, the interruptions. In this poem, this gets to be a very fast-paced adventure. So Margaret will read the sangiadai while I read David's narrative. And it's very pretty quick-paced adventure, but the sangiadai kind of slow it down, so we're watching it in slow motion as it all happens, and we get a chance to understand what's going on, as well as it's really powerful poetry. No, because they're going to have to move it back and forth. This is called Trafferth mewn tavern, trouble in a tavern. You can imagine already. Daethum I ddinas dethol am hardd rhain I'm hôl, cain hoiw drael lle cwyn hydrym, Cymru bach o febyd fyn. Llety ddedig ddigawn, gyffredin a gwyn a gawn. So you see what I mean? See how long it takes him to say the sentence, I took public lodging. Cymru llety gyffredin, that's right. I took public lodging. I came to a choice town with my handsome page behind me. Fine, cheerful expense.
An excellent place for dinner.
I took
I was a proud youth.
public
Dignified enough.
lodging. And I got some wine. I spied a slim, pretty maiden in the house, my one fair friend, completely setting
Color of the sun in the east.
my mind on the desire of my slender dear. I bought a roast
Not just for boasting.
and expensive wine for me and that lovely girl.
Young men love to play games.
I called the maid, modest girl, to the bench, and we had a glorious great feast, greater than a wedding banquet. I whispered
I was a bold, eager fellow, that's for sure.
2 words to charm her. After any obstacle
Dire destiny.
had been removed by that whispering, I made
Love was not idle.
an agreement to come to the sprightly girl when the parents had gone to sleep. She was a black-browed maid. After everyone
It was extremely pitiful.
went to sleep, except me and the girl, I cleverly tried to make for the girl's bed.
It was lamentable.
I'll pay for that one. I got, when I made a noise there, a nasty fall.
These were no fortunate exploits.
I bruised
I did not jump unhurt.
my shin
And woe to my leg.
on the edge
Some hustler's work.
of a stupid, noisy stool above the ankle. I struck
Excessive desire is bad.
where I landed without a single leap clear,
Frequent the treachery of foolish struggling.
my forehead on the end of the table, where there was now a loose basin and a resounding brass bowl. The table fell
A mighty piece of furniture.
with its 2 trestles and all the utensils. The bowl gave a cry behind me, which could be heard far away. The basin
I was a stupid man.
rang out, and the dogs barked. It's easier to get up
Costly mischief.
clumsily than too quickly. I rose
It was a regrettable tale.
up,
Welshmen loved me.
where there were, by massive walls, 3 Englishmen in a stinky bed, worrying about their 3 packs. Hicken and Jenkin and Jack. One slobber-mouthed dimwit whispered, terribly angry, to the other 2.
There's a Welshman
Deceit spears tumult.
wandering around here deceitfully. He's a thief if we allow it. Watch out, defend yourself against it.
The ostler roused up the whole crowd, and it was a terrible tale. They were scowling round about me, 9 at a time, looking for me, all around me, and I
Terrible, ugly bruises.
was keeping silent in the dark. I prayed
Not with a brave face.
in hiding, like a man afraid, and by the power of precious, sincere prayer, and by the grace of the true Jesus, I reached,
A knot of sleeplessness.
without reward, my own old bed. I escaped.
It is good the saints are near.
To God I pray for forgiveness. I should wrap up, and I'm going to read one very short poem. One very short poem, which some people used to believe was David's last poem. It may be, it probably wasn't, might have been. Sounds like it is, but probably wasn't. It's a poem called Repentance. So we have to ask ourselves, what is he repenting? His whole life of sin? Or is he finding a sort of clever way to remind everybody of the suffering that he has endured for Morvith? Or any of the other women in his life. It's a poem we call Edivere Repentance. Pryd o swydd prydaesydd prydydd I forfydd ryfi. Costly office I sang to her, I am Morvith's poet. By the man who rules today, there is a sharp pain in my head for a fair maid, and in my brow is a troubling wound for a golden girl I'm dying. When death comes to paralyze the bones with his whirling bolts, life at its end will be a terrible thing. Man's tongue shall fail. May the Trinity, to prevent dwelling in grief and great turmoil, and the Virgin Mary forgive my misguided ways. Amen. And I shall sing no more. Amen. Ad ni chanav mwy. Diolch yn fawr iawn I bawb. Thank you all very much.